cry out for. It's the soul that struggles in search for more, and one who lives in risk because destiny would have no other way, it seems. These are the heroes when glory's hand is raised, the common man who goes without sore praise can fall on one whose shoulders will carry fame. These are the heroes of the game.
Those heroes of hockey get to perform again this afternoon at Pittsburgh, along with today's current stars of the game in a skills competition. It's the National Hockey League's first All-Star Saturday. We're proud to have it for you right here on SportsChannel America. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. They've come to play where Mario plays. Yes, Mario Lemieux, one of the bright stars of the National Hockey League. Tomorrow, of course, is the All-Star Game. It returns to network television for the first time in 10 years. But this is Saturday, and it's All-Star Saturday. I'm Jigs McDonald, joined today by Mike Emmerich, Denny Potvin, along with Gary Green, and in the broadcast booth, an old partner, Bill Clement. You look around this National Hockey League All-Star Weekend. The league had to make 240 schedule changes to accommodate it. The players have come from all over. The old-timers, especially the heroes, are back and nervous, I think.
I think the goalies will be nervous. Let's face it, their rust will show up before the forwards' rust. But, you know, these guys get a chance to play this sport as a game. That's how they started playing it as kids. And after all those years of playing it as a serious business, now today they can play it just as a fun game. So they're here to have a good time.
And we have so much more for you. The stars of today come back with a skills competition. On our intermissions today, we get an opportunity to see four of our hockey heroes as they went to dinner last evening in downtown Pittsburgh. You see Rod Gilbert, Eddie Shack, Ted Lindsay, and Stan Mikita discussing the game when they played it and the game as we know it today. That'll be very interesting in our first intermission. Second intermission, the president of the National Hockey League, John Ziegler, discusses expansion, where the game is going in the decade of the 90s, some of the problems facing the sport, along with the possibilities of network television coverage in the future. A lot of many things that'll be on the agenda today, All-Star Saturday from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Now a nice moment on ice, brought to you by Nice Sore Throat Lozenges. Many consider Wayne Gretzky to be the athlete of the 80s. A mixture of speed, skill, and grace, Wayne's assault on the record book has been unrelenting. In 1989, in just his 11th NHL season, the great one became the greatest as he passed Gordie Howe's point total to become the NHL's all-time leading scorer. For Wayne Gretzky, it was truly a nice moment on ice.
Здорово, Василий. Привет. Понимаешь, я думал.
Что?
Ну, про этих капиталистов, с которыми мы играем.
Так.
Мы хотим выиграть.
Да.
Они хотят выиграть.
Ну и что?
Они дали нам свои самые лучшие коньки.
Сумасшедшие.
CCM 651 такс. Включаете мощность.
The Whalers look for revenge. In their last meeting, this late third-period goal gave the Isles a victory and brought the Whalers to their knees. Pat Verbeek and company aim to even the score. Live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sports Channel America, Tuesday.
The NHL's first ever All-Star Saturday on Sports Channel America is brought to you by Gold MasterCard, the best gold card to master the moment. By the makers of Lincoln Town Car, Continental, and Mark 7. Lincoln, what a luxury car should be. By Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat it. Can't beat the feeling. Can't beat the real thing. And by Nice. Nice showers your sore throat with cool relief so you can have a nice day. ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the heroes of hockey from the Clarence Campbell Conference. Beginning with the goalies. Number 1, a goalie who won the award that goalies covet, the Vezina. Excellence for 11 seasons with skill and character and dedication, part of a Vezina Trophy team in Buffalo. Number 1, Don Edwards. He served the sport with his quick reflexes for 18 years and served the team right here in Pittsburgh for 3. Part of a Stanley Cup finalist in '81 with Minnesota, number 29, Gilles Melange. He patrolled his side of the ice and the entire end of the ice with an authority few of his era ever had. The epitome of defense with a capital D from Chicago's great teams. Number 2, Bill White. Played in an All-Star game 4 years ago, a 2-time Cup winner, a captain, a guy who didn't seek the credit, only victory by his team. Another leader of those championship teams in Edmonton, number 2, Lee Fogelin. Whether it was his wonderful hip checks, his defense of the net with his brother, or scrapping right under this scoreboard with the goalie Al Smith, you remember him for wearing that blue note and number 5 out of St. Louis, Bob Plager. Production meant production in Detroit with his line that included Gordie Howe and Sid Abel, and toughness meant toughness too. Welcome from the Detroit Red Wings, number 7, Ted Lindsay. You love the guys in the white hats, but our sport has its Jesse James guys too. A college product in an era when there weren't many, a tough player in an era when there were a lot, and he stood out. Number 3 from Chicago, Keith Magnuson. There is magic in some of those lines of bygone days. For many years in Chicago, it was this man with Pitt Martin and Dennis Hall. 14 years in the league, memorable years with the Blackhawks, number 8, Jim Pappin. A magnificent player, 500 goal scorer, 1,000 point man, one of the heroes of last year's Stanley Cup Finals, and an even better person than he was a player. Number 9 from Calgary, Lanny McDonald. Described by his trainer as not the brawniest, just the brainiest. He was an important part of the glory years in Detroit. He's got 3 Stanley Cup rings to show for it. Welcome back to Civic Arena, number 10, Alex Del Vecchio. A man who made puck control and defense a marvelous art. Quick and terrific at his position. 12 years in the league. He's starting on defense this afternoon. From Chicago, number 12, Pat Stapleton. Another of your boys, a performer in the 1977 All-Star Game, solid contributor to Detroit, and the same for 2 years here in Pittsburgh. Welcome back, number 14, Nick Libet. A man who scored 50 goals twice in his career with Buffalo, but also played for Detroit and Edmonton, feisty and a deadly shot. Welcome, number 18, Danny Gare. He'd blaze down the right wing, and it'd be interesting to see what the radar will show us here this afternoon if he could uncork one of his patented shots. One of the hardest that came from one of the greatest guys in the sport, number 20 from Detroit, Mickey Redmond. An MVP in Philadelphia for the All-Star Game in '76 and one of the game's great characters. A happy forward who enjoyed 2 happy years right here in Pittsburgh. You remember him well. The little M at only 6'4", number 20, Pete Mahovlich. He was the character of that team that wore wonderful red jerseys with the Indian head on the front. He was on hand for a cup in Chicago. He was Chicago. He still is Chicago. Number 21, Stan Mikita. From season ticket holder to hard-working player, GM, coach, president, 23 years of service to the North Stars, wearing number 23, Lou Nanne. A guy you can't think about without smiling or laughing, because a lot of you and a lot of us have smiled and laughed whenever he's played. And he was also good. He won the Stanley Cup. Here's the entertainer, Eddie Shack. A classy, graceful performer. A Maple Leaf for 11 years. You admire him for his skills as a player and his qualities on and off. Number 27, Darryl Sittler. In an era when most didn't score a lot of goals, he made it a mission. Rookie of the Year back in 1958. 9 times an All-Star, Hall of Famer, Big M, number 27, Frank Mahovlich. The trainer who gave over 30 years of his life to one team, the Red Wings, one of the most clever pranksters in any locker room, longtime Red Wings trainer Ross Lefty Wilson. And the coach, the guy who steered the Penguins to their greatest playoff success in those early years, Member of Parliament, present-day business president, quality guy, Leonard Red Kelly. The Campbell Conference Heroes of Hockey. Now for the Prince of Wales Conference. First of all, the goaltenders. 4 years he was one of yours, a game courageous competitor in goal, number 29, Michel Dion. The Battler, a guy who made the Islanders crease his own. 4 championships to number 31, Billy Smith. "17 years of award-winning play with the Rangers, Bruins, and Detroit. Master of the hip check, marvelous skills. Number 2, Brad Park. The epitome of the stay-at-home defenseman. For 21 years, no one was more important to his goaltender than number 3, Harry Howell. '20th in total points among all players, not just defensemen. He shifted from defense to offense so smoothly. You remember him on that Islanders back line, number 5, Dennis Potvin. The singers may sing and the dancers may dance, but when this guy boxed, you loved every minute of it. Number 5, number 1 in your hearts, Bugsy Brian Watson. You go into the corner in Buffalo and you expected to be hit. A part of the greatest of Sabre teams, number 6, Jim Schoenfeld. A guy who used to terrify goalies with a big slap shot, one that today's rules won't permit, but a contributor for 13 seasons. Number 6, Dick Redmond. One of our many Hall of Famers who had 16 shots on goal in one game at Montreal and was a part of that famous line with Vic Hadfield and Jean Rattel. 406 goals as a Ranger. Number 7, Rod Gilbert. Big, strong, immovable from the front of the net, paid a price to be there, but scored 363 times. Classy man from a classy family. Number 8, a longtime Bruin, Peter McNabb. Whether it was on the Uke line with Stasiuk and Horvath or a cup line with Esposito and Hodge, the guy as good as you'd find for 23 years. Number 9, Johnny Busick. Even though most of his years were with the Rangers, we still remember him as a point man on Red Kelly's power play. Number 9, Andy Bathgate. A guy from across the ocean who brought us immeasurable skill and a polite joy. Just happy to be playing here, and it showed. 5 years a centerman with the Rangers, number 11, Ulf Nielsen. One of the lunch bucket guys. He played a game where they dumped the puck to the toughest corners of Boston Garden, fixed their bayonets, and went after it. 2 times a cup winner, a solid contributor, number 12, Wayne Cashman. All that was fast and glorious about French hockey at the Forum in Montreal, bound up in a wonderful skater. Speed his asset, number 12, the Roadrunner, Yvon Cornway. Nine cups for Cornway, 11 for the next man in 20 years in Montreal. Skills that you see won't have been altered by time. The pocket rocket, number 16, Henri Richard. Another of your favorites, even though he was only here for a year and a half. Grit and scrap and a lot of success when he went on to run the Edmonton Oilers. Number 16, Glenn Sather. A guy who was part of one generation of sensational Montreal teams, 424 goals, 13 years, number 22, Steve Shutt. A man who was an all-star MVP, a guy you saw play here a lot, Penguin for 6 seasons, number 26, Syl Apps. He was known as the rifle for the gun he packed on right wing and the snap of his stick. A playoff MVP, number 27 from the Flyers, Reggie Leach. Trainer, the guy who held the Boston Bruins together with tape and gauze and wire and binder twine and everything else for all those championships, Dan Canny. And the coach, simply the winningest ever to pace a bench, 5 cups, 8 All-Star games. The Montreal dynasty of the 70s was his, Scotty Bowman. Those are the Prince of Wales Conference heroes of hockey.
All kinds of talent, all kinds of Stanley Cup memories, all kinds of great memorable goals. We'll return to Pittsburgh in the first annual All-Star Saturday following these messages.
The blistering slap shots, the bone-crunching body checks, the joy of winning.
And his pocket picked by Murray, the shot, Hawks win! Hawks win!
The network home of the National Hockey League is SportsChannel.
Boston Celtic games on SportsChannel have more to offer with WBZ TV's SportsChannel Update. During halftime of Celtic telecasts on SportsChannel, I'll turn the show over to Bob Lobel, who'll bring you updated scores and highlights from the rest of the sporting world. Then it's back for the second half of Celtics action. Go with SportsChannel for the WBZ TV SportsChannel Update during halftime of every Boston Celtic home game right here on SportsChannel.
Back in Pittsburgh in the first annual All-Star Saturday for the National Hockey League. You look at the players as they came out this afternoon, Bill Clement, and you had to marvel at the condition of some of them and the aging process of others.
Well, you also have to marvel at how the modern-day equipment can really cover up some of the flaws in the aging anatomy that we both know so well. But a lot of these guys are going to surprise people. They're in pretty good shape. Cornway can still skate like the wind. And as I said in the open, Lanny McDonald obviously still in shape. He hasn't even been out of the game for a year. But I think a lot of the pressure will be on the goaltenders. Some of them have only had the pads on twice since they retired.
And you look at some of the names, the expression on Scotty Bowman's face a moment ago said it all. How do you coach a team like this?
You become a door opener. Any 5, give me any 5. But by the time the second period rolls down, it's give me any 5 that still think they can manage a shift out there.
We have microphones, by the way, on goaltender Bill Smith, Don Edwards later on. Here are the rules. 2 20-minute periods is what they'll play. A penalty shot will be awarded on the first penalty of the game for each team, and the penalties will all be of only 1 minute duration. It'll be a stop-time game, and we'll see just what kind of speed we get to. You'll notice that the officials today, 2 legends, Red Story and Scotty Morrison, are both attired in what was the referee's outfit of those eras.
And that's why there will be some penalty shots, because Red Story is refereeing. You know he's going to keep this thing lively.
That's Bill White. Ian Stapleton, the former Chicago Blackhawk defense tandem. They have Stan Mikita, 49 years of age, centering for 64-year-old Ted Lindsay on the left side and 50-year-old Jim Pappen on the right. That's the team in the red, the Campbell Conference squad. Stapleton with the puck that still absent, started into forecheck. Andy Bathgate is at center ice for the Wales Conference team. Bathgate, who played here 18 years in the National Hockey League. Andy is 57 years of age now, and he plays regularly. That's White giving the puck to Stapleton. And it's picked up now by Ted Lindsay.
Why do I get the feeling there's not going to be a lot of dump and chase today?
Not their style, is it? Here's Mikita, and that's Jim Schoenfeld, the first coach to have been fired this season in the National Hockey League, over to knock it away. There's been 3 changes, and that shot by Peter McNabb, a broadcast colleague of ours, turned aside by Gilles Meloche. Down the right side, there's Lanny McDonald. The Campbell Conference trying to set something up, but Peter McNabb with the puck now. Moves it out into the center ice zone. Johnny Busick, another broadcast colleague, has dumped it on into the territory. Well, we told you about Stan, 49 years of age. Remember when? Oh, do we ever. 4 years in a row, he led the National Hockey League in assists. This was a game in Atlanta many years ago, and that's the general manager, Pat Quinn, who cut him off, and there's Noel Price. But boy, could Mikita dance on those skates. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1983. 4 times he led the National Hockey League in scoring, and twice he was Peck's bad boy with all those penalty minutes. And then he turned his game around, became the Lady Byng Trophy winner for 2 years. Now we watch as the guys in white, the Wales Conference team, coached by Scotty Bowman. Up the puck in. They try to move it out. We have microphones on the 2 coaches. Scotty Bowman. See what Scotty's going to do. Line change. The feeling he's enjoying it, Bill.
He's whispering, so we can't hear him. Way to pep him up, Scotty. He's just having a good time. You really don't have to urge these guys on.
Coached in St. Louis, took his team there to the finals for 3 years. In Montreal for 8 seasons. The winner of 5 Stanley Cups. Became the coach of the year in the National Hockey League in 76-77. Of course, finished his coaching career in Buffalo. Points to all the great games between Montreal and Boston as his most memorable moments because of the rivalry. There's the Roadrunner, Cornway testing Gilles Meloche. Del Vecchio moved it up the right side. And the long pass by Gare. Nick Libet couldn't get to it. This is Bob Plager, one of the funniest men around. The left side of the defense, stuffing it in. Denny Potvin and Harry Howell. Now it's moved down to the left side, and the shot off Meloche. Hard drive by Steve Schutt. There is the pocket rocket. Henri Richard handling the puck now, wearing that familiar number 16. Cornway with it. Pass went off Libet.
You know, there are 86 Stanley Cup rings represented in this game today, and 20 of them belong to a couple of players that are just in the middle of a line change. One has the puck right now. Henri Richard leads everyone with 11 Stanley Cups. Cornway has 9, so 20 between those 2.
And there's Rod Gilbert in front to Cashman, and Meloche hasn't lost a thing. The other coach, the man who is a member of Parliament. Way to go, gang. That's Red Kelly, Leonard Red Kelly. For so many years, a Detroit Red Wing, inducted into the Hall of Fame in '69. Great defenseman, then went to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs and became a forward and won more Stanley Cups. One of the most likable men in the sport.
That's when I tuned into Red. When I was a kid watching the Toronto Maple Leafs, they were my favorite team, and Red Kelly became one of my favorite players about the second year he was there.
Never heard a crossword from the mouth of Red Kelly. He was the coach of the Los Angeles Kings when they were born in 1967. Anything more than shoot, buy, hang, words of that description, the player never heard. Close in action here. Meloche, a little bit of help from his defenseman now, Bill White, trying to tie up Cashman. And the puck frozen as Ulf Nielsen couldn't pry it off the board. 2 20-minute periods. There is no score, and we'll be back in a moment. We're just back to action in the Heroes of Hockey game. First period here at Pittsburgh is Wayne Cashman, now the assistant coach of the New York Rangers, played the puck into the corner. Rod Gilbert, former Ranger great, played his entire career on Broadway. Watson, and his shot blocked at the side of the net, then covered by Gilles Melange. Watson and Gilbert collided out in front of Melange. These two individuals laughing. Gilles Melange looks back at his career. I think probably his most memorable bill would be with the Minnesota North Stars when they went to the Stanley Cup final, and then, of course, completing his career here in Pittsburgh.
He was one of the players I talked to today, Jiggs, and he said he tried his pads on only for the second time since he retired last weekend. Billy Smith is in the same boat. The panic set in, and they said, gee, I better see if those pads still fit. But without question, Melange's thrill had to be, besides his 2 All-Star appearances, is going to the finals with Minnesota.
He's now living in Montreal, by the way. Going to be scouting for the Pittsburgh Penguins in that area. This is Brad Park, now a businessman in Boston. Sends Apps over the line. Apps through the defense. Centers one. Oh, nobody there, and we've got our first penalty. This will be a penalty shot. It's the first of the game. They're looking toward Glenn Sather, former coach, president and general manager only of the Edmonton Oilers.
They're not looking to Glenn to take the penalty shot, are
I
they?
hope not. Well, Red Story, apparently the penalty is on Lindsay, but it turns into a penalty shot. And Andy Bathgate would appear to be the man who is going to be designated the shooter. That's exactly who it is, and here he comes. He scores. 57 years old, 18 years in the league, and look at the expression on Scotty Bowman's face, and now Andy.
You know, one of the reasons they're laughing is that Andy Bathgate completely lost the puck when he got to the top of the circle. It was drifting behind him. And when Melange saw that, he thought he had an easy save. So what he did was drop to his knees, and Bathgate just put it right up into the top of the net. Watch Bathgate lose control here. Whoop, where is it? Where is it? Melange went down. No problem. Still got a great reaction time.
30 years ago, this year, he was the league's most valuable player, the Hart Trophy winner, 40, 48, and 88 points in 70 games. Still has that good shot. Here's Makita with the puck now. Dan Makita into Ted Lindsay. Had Jimmy Pappin out front, couldn't get it to him. And Sather plays it to the left side. Still Apps with a cross-ice pass. Schoenfeld was moving in. And down the left side for the Campbell Conference, Ted Lindsay. He couldn't make the pass to Jimmy Pappin. Bathgate waiting for the puck here in the right wing boards. Gave it to Apps. Now into the center ice area. Brad Park trying to set up Apps, and it didn't work. Now the puck being cleared up by Lee Vogelin. Picked up by Lanny McDonald. McDonald and Frank Mahavlich move in. Big save, the first for the goaltender at that end, Bill Smith. Bill Smith, you hear, telling them, way to work. And the puck has been cleared the length of the ice. It'll be played by Gilles Melange. Still 11 minutes and 40 seconds to go in this first period. Keith Magnuson with a pass to Frank Mahavlich. Now it's across the line, controlled by Sickler, and Smith got his blocking glove in front of that. This is Lanny McDonald, and it's poke checked away. Danny Potvin. Now Leach comes in off the right side. The rifleman centers, and Potvin shot is blocked. Melange sitting down has covered it. Got a little help from his defenseman, and then the puck came right back.
Well, you know, when Reggie Leach crosses the blue line, people still tend to watch him, and that's what happened. Reggie was cutting in, had all kinds of time to let go of that big blast of his, but decided to pass instead.
Here's another look at it. The skills are still there.
You bet. You got to know that a guy like Dennis Button will be right up, but they were fighting for it on that play.
And then the skate save by Gilles Melange. And as we return to the live action, it is 1-0 and a goal by Andy Bathgate, giving the Wales Conference the lead. Lanny McDonald playing it in off the boards, and this, Darryl Sittler, his longtime buddy, centering it, but Peter McNabb breaks up the play. McNabb playing it to the left side. No further as Johnny Busick got checked. Boy, is it good to see Busick in this game today. All of them, for that matter. Darryl Sittler with a pass to McDonald, the big M. Now Magnuson at the blue line. Back in the net.
One guy.
Yep, Bill Smith directing traffic. One guy, he's saying. That's the mic that we have on the goaltender.
Point behind you.
Pushing Lanning McDonald out of the goal mouth. Mahavlich centers one.
Get it out.
Get it out. Well, Billy Smith told me that he'd had the pads on only once since he retired at the end of this past season. And he gets the job done. There is one goal on the board, that by Andy Bathgate, as you see him on the bench, who will return to Pittsburgh right after this message. That's Bill Smith in the nets this afternoon for the first period for the Wales Conference. Retired, now living in Vancouver. You see the number of wins, 305 in an 18-year career. And the goals against average of 3.17. Winner of the Vezina Trophy in 1981-82. Jennings Trophy the following season, 82-83. In the same year, he was the Smythe Trophy winner, the most valuable player in the Stanley Cup Finals. Talked about all those Stanley Cup rings, Bill. 4 of them belong to Bill Smith. Here's Cournoyer. Across the line, centering pass. Had it there, but not in time for Lunani. Now Libet gets over the line. Bill White moves up, and the play is offside.
You know, there was kind of an equipment watch going on today. I was here for about, well, I was here all day, but 3 hours before game time. There's Danny Gare. 3 hours before game time, Wayne Cashman and Dick Redmond were both in their locker rooms, sitting by their equipment, waiting for pranks to come their way because they didn't trust any of the trainers or any of the players. So there was a definite equipment watch most of the day.
I was here for a little bit of a workout yesterday. Bill White, Pat Stapleton, and Keith Magnuson all in one corner. You knew that there was a lot of plotting and planning, things going on. The practical jokers were at it. Here's Danny Gare, now a television broadcaster in Buffalo, handling Sabre telecasts. Andre Richard trying to move it out. It's held in by Gare. Gare involved in that big trade several years ago between the Detroit Red Wings and the Sabres. Has the puck again. A check. And the Pocket Rocket takes over.
Go ahead, Dennis.
His older brother, Rocket Richard, will be on hand. We'll see him in the skills competition. Here's Del Vecchio moving in, and the play broken up by Dickie Redmond. Richard sends Cournoyer across the line. Back to Richard, and his shot blocked by Meloche. They look for a rebound. Steve Schutt is right there, but Bill White covers the puck, and there's no further play. You look at the guy like Meloche, Bill White, Stapleton, and this man, Cournoyer, that they've called the Roadrunner.
You know, most of the players filled out a questionnaire that we asked them to work on, and a lot of them said that the game is faster now, but in an era where the game may have been a little slower, Yvan Cournoyer stood out. I still think with his speed, the speed of the mid-70s, that he would stand out in today's game. He was that fast.
Oh, yes. 46 years of age now. Owns a restaurant, works there on a regular basis in Montreal. Eddie, the entertainer Shack, is out on the ice, folks, along with Peter Mahavlich. And the other forward is Mickey Redmond. Those are the guys clad in red, the Campbell Conference team, coached by Red Kelly. Lee Fogelin with a pass into the center ice area. Schoenfeld knocking away from Peter Mahavlich. Shack moving up to forecheck. Chase Nielsen back into his own zone. This is Brad Park. The pass out of the reach of Schoenfeld. Meloche will let it go. Lunani puts a stick on it. That's an icing call against the Wales Conference. Let's go down to the bench and listen in as Red Kelly coaches his team.
See if you have Lunani's autograph along with a red Civic Arena sticker. If you do, you jersey off Blues back. Report to Section B.
Well, you said he was a man of few and polite words.
Couldn't see anything, eh?
NHL guest from Miles Lab, Molson Brewery.
He's talking to Alex Del Vecchio. You know, I expected both of these teams to kind of have the lookout defense going today. Look out, Gilles. Look out, Billy. Here they come. But I haven't seen anything even close to a breakaway.
Do you suppose Red brought the pyramids? Remember when pyramid power was the big thing? Rod Gilbert will be one of our 4 heroes of hockey who dined last evening and discussed the game, where the game has been, where it is now, where it's going. Interesting, very interesting evening. He, Shaq, Nikita, and Ted Lindsay.
I don't think Rod Gilbert got the credit that he deserved as a quality player that he really was. I think perhaps now he is being recognized, but let's face it, you've got to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals or perhaps even win a Stanley Cup before you get your dues. Whoa, what a play.
Look at that, Rod Gilbert. We just talked about Rod. 2 97-point seasons in his career. Did it in 71, 72, and again in 74, 75. And the former New York Ranger great has made it 2-0.
See, that's the kind of goal he used to score when he played with Jean Rattel. Coming in wide on the side. Great play there, though, by Ulfie Nilsson. And a nice pass by Cashman all the way back over to Rod Gilbert. They made it look easy. It was easy.
1,065 games for Rod Gilbert in his career. 1,021 points. 10 years in the playoffs. And no Stanley Cup.
Rod Gilbert.
This is Sil Apps, the former Pittsburgh Penguin, and it's banged in. They get one by Milosh again, and
guess who?
Yes,
Bobby
guess who?
Plager. That's his first goal in 7 years, but he scored it on his own net.
And the man who coached him all those years in St. Louis, Scotty Bowman.
Plager just went down the other bench and high-fived it to everybody on the other bench. But watch it. Sil Apps was behind the net, dumped it out front. Watch Plager, number 5. Shoots! Yes! Yes, in the wide side. Look, Milosh is on one knee looking up at him and saying, wait a second. He didn't even come close to missing.
Now he's being thrown out of the game for that. Red Story says, Plager, you're out of here.
What's the word, Red? 1 minute for putting it in the wrong net. Mark Plager. Bob Plager. Bob, where is he? The bench where you put him.
Wales Conference goal scored by number 26, unassisted Sil Apps.
Sil Apps is credited with the goal.
At 14:59.
14:59 is the time. Just prior to that, at the 14:32 mark, Gilbert had scored for Nilsson and Cornwallis. So it is a 3-0 lead for the Wales Conference team. Here's Harry Howell leading the Wales Conference in. Long shot off the stick of Milosh, and it's drawn out by Stan Mikita. He gives it to Jim Pappen, back to Mikita. Apps came back to break up the play, but here's Lindsay. His shot blocked by Potvin. Potvin played it up the left side. Sather to Bathgate. In front to Apps. Can't get it back to Bathgate. Good play by the defenseman, Bob Plager. Well, that sort of makes amends for the goal that he put in his own net.
You think?
Well, just for the time being. The puck in the goal mouth and cleared out to Mikita.
Kind of.
And Mikita. Nice pass to Ted Lindsay, and Smith comes out to knock it away. Bathgate takes the pass from Apps, and has given it to Sather. Now to Bathgate. Andy Bathgate putting the move on Bill White, but they can't finish the play, and here's the big M, Frank Mahovlich. Mahovlich now a travel agent in Toronto, Ontario. He plays a lot of hockey. Says he doesn't watch the game that much. Stay up to date on what's going on in the National Hockey League.
You're all right now. You're all right now.
Reggie Leach handling the puck. Billy Smith telling him that he's all right. People are in position. Dickie Redmond played it up into the center ice zone, and with just a little less than 3 minutes to go in the first period, Reggie Leach plays one around the boards. It's cleared out by Bill White. Long talk with Bill White yesterday. He was one of the original Los Angeles Kings defensemen going back to 1967. You'll never guess what he's doing. He's a former educator, but now he's an estimator for a plumbing company. If you're putting up one of these 14, 15-story buildings, he'll come in, give you the estimate for shower heads, taps, sinks, all that good stuff.
I just happen to have a couple of buildings on the go.
I knew you were that kind of an entrepreneur.
That's what Eddie Shack put down for his occupation now, entrepreneur.
And
Didn't even want to specify.
He really is.
Showman entrepreneur / entrepreneur.
And here's a farmer now. Pat Stapleton, former great Chicago Blackhawk defenseman, has gone back to the farm just outside London, Ontario. Campbell Conference trying to put themselves on the board here late in the first period. Bill Smith plays it to the left side for Johnny Dusick. To Frank Mahovlich. Mahovlich with Sittler in the goal crease, and Smith knocked him down.
Well, he told me he was going to chop somebody. He just didn't know who.
Meantime, Brad Park, look at that glove save by Milosh. How do you do? Brad Park right up the slot. Not this time, Julie says.
Well, he's really alert. After Bob Plager scored on him, he is on ready alert. And boy, oh boy, did he ever pick this one out of the air. That was labeled for the top corner. Brad Park could still snap it pretty good.
If you do, you're the winner of the jersey off Wayne's back. Report to section P30.
Mentioned that Gilles Melange will be scouting apparently for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Montreal area. Brad Park, a businessman in Boston, has a couple of pizza restaurants and does very well. Now 53-year-old Henri Richard moves in to take the face-off against Alex Del Vecchio.
We gave both of Jigs, we gave both of them the award for the whitest hair, didn't we? They tied, Henri Richard and Alex Del Vecchio. And Pat Stapleton won the award for the most hair.
And we have a lot of awards coming on the skills competition following today's Heroes of Hockey game.
Come on, Shorty, go behind. Go behind. You got time.
We have just received word from the press box here. The owner of the Los Angeles Kings, Bruce McNall, has confirmed that his team has made the trade with the New York Rangers. Bernie Nichols will become a Ranger. Going the other direction, Thomas Sandstrom and Tony Granato. So the Rangers and Los Angeles have completed what has been rumored for the past 48 hours. Bernie Nichols goes to Broadway. Sandstrom and Tony Taddy to the Kings. Tony Granato to the Kings. There's the horn. The first of two periods between these veterans, the Heroes of Hockey, comes to a close with a 3-0 lead for the Wales Conference. Bill Smith gets the shutout, and our score is 3-0. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the NHL All-Star Saturday on SportsChannel America.
Lewis takes it to the hole for 2 and a foul. His way through with Barkley all over. They're not going to call a foul. Goes to Bird. He's open. Got it at the buzzer. A half a second.
Had to enjoy the performance, and I know the players have had just a great weekend. Last night we got 4 of these Heroes of Hockey together, took them to dinner, and listened in as they discussed the past, present, and future of this game.
It was really a thrill for me to have the opportunity to go to Chicago. You know, my heart was always in Detroit, but to have the opportunity to play with 2 of the finest hockey players that were to play probably in the next 10 to 20 years in the National Hockey League, which was Bobby Hull and Stan McKeon. And of course, Stan, those first couple of years, he was no candidate for the Lady Byng.
I see you wearing a Stanley Cup ring. That's pretty valuable right there.
Yeah, how many?
4 Stanley Cups.
Hey, there you go.
But we
They're
won
right there on that account.
We won the one that we won, the best one, was in 1967. That's when Montreal, the Expo was all there and everything else, and we finished 4th. They finished right up on top.
You beat us, I think, in the semifinal.
Yeah. And they were supposed to, and they had the champagne and everything like that. Hello, Dolly. Comment ça va? Oui, oui, you know. Gotta bring my brother from 2.5 River. We're going to drink the champagne, you know. And then
Emile Francis was great in New York, and he put a team together that lasted for 9-10 years. And when we were like going to the end, and then always like a couple of years was like the Boston Bruins with Bobby Orr.
Right.
And we had Brad Park and made the difference.
I was treated wonderfully well by management and wonderfully well by the fans in Chicago, but I was still a Red Wing, basically.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that you get stamped on.
same as Gordy. Gordy says he still likes the outfit.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
I don't know about Colleen, but Gordy, I know Gordy.
Here was my mentor.
I remember reading that.
My first left winger, I was 19 years old, and I came up for, or I guess I was 18 years old, and Todd Sloan was hurt, and they said, you're going to play with Litzenberger and Lindsay. Litz was on the right side, and then Teddy on the left side. And I think I only changed my shorts about 4 times that day. But it was fun.
I got to tell you a story about Eddie Shack. I'm playing against him, and he's coming at me with the puck and trying to move, side to side. He's supposed to deke me. He doesn't. Here comes Shaq, clear the track. From here to here, I missed my eyes. Look at that scar. He skated right on top of me like this, ripped my sweater all over, and then skates on my face like that. So I was in bed with my little girl the other day, and she says, "Daddy, are you as old as Grandma?" And she says, "Why? You get a lot of lines in your face." I said, "That's Mr. Shaq, that's Mr. Lindsay, and Mr. McKee."
Thanks.
Well, the food was good, the conversation even better, and it will continue as our intermission continues. It's 3-0, the Campbell Conference on the short end. Prince of Wales well out in front. We'll be back in Pittsburgh after this message. Welcome back to the beautiful city of Pittsburgh and the National Hockey League's first All-Star Saturday. Let's resume our conversation with those 4 hockey heroes.
When we played, of course, there was a 6-team league, and you had the best 30 defensemen in the world. You had the best. They didn't have backup goaltenders. You had the best 6 goaltenders in the world. You had the best 18 centermen in the world, and we had some guys in our farm system that were just waiting for us not to do a good job, and they were just as good. They were as good as we were. So we had a different condition than what they have today.
And we had people like making a lot of nice passes when we played, and I remember like every team had at least 2 lines that constantly were moving the puck by passing it, by stick handling it, versus the style of today.
Gretzky could have played in any era.
Oh, sure.
And a lot of these kids that are playing now could have played in any era.
You play like a Gretzky. Normie Ullman plays like a Gretzky.
There was only one Gretzky. Normie was a hell of a hockey player. I thought I was decent, but Gretzky is in a class by himself.
You were decent. Believe me, you were decent.
I was decent. If you can't catch him, Shacky, how the hell are you going to hit him?
Well, I guarantee you.
Where are you going to hurt him?
You miss him twice, but I'll guarantee you'll get him the 3rd time.
I watched a game about 2 months ago in Toronto. Detroit were there, and I think it was ended up 8-7 or 9-7, something like this. And out of those 16 goals, I'll bet you on 10 or 11 of the goals, there were more visiting players in the front of the visiting net than there were defending players when the goal was scored. There's nothing magic about this game. When you got the puck, you're on offense.
That's right.
When you don't have the puck, you're on defense.
Exactly. Our theory, I think, back then was as long as you have the puck, the other team can't score.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's playing pretty good defense, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, but
and I think this is the way Gretzky plays.
Yes, I love the way
he keeps control of the puck. Lemieux the same way.
Yeah.
If I got traded to L.A. right now, I might think of a comeback.
You got to play with them. You got to coach.
Excuse me, sir, I forgot about you. Are you Andy McDonald?
No, Elvis J. Skinback. Smart kid, eh?
Always the entertainer, Eddie Jack, Ted Lindsay, Stan Mikita, and what an evening, of course, with Rod Gilbert in there as well. The 2 teams are coming back out here. I don't think anybody entertains any better than Shaq.
I think that kid probably went to Eddie Shack's school of training of how to be quick in a restaurant. You know, one of the fun things about this entire event for the guys that are on the ice that we've seen here in the first period is what is happening right now, or what happened between periods. That's when guys really can get together and laugh and reminisce. And there is no other time for a professional athlete, and it's difficult to describe. There's no other time that really is like the time in the locker room between periods when you get a chance to reacquaint and to see old friends and to talk to people that you used to really knock heads with for so many years.
And I think one of the other big talking points this weekend amongst the players has been the fact that they'll be introduced tomorrow during the All-Star game itself and on national television, a chance to be recognized again.
I think it's only appropriate that Saturday is being integrated with Sunday. These guys have all given so much to the game of hockey over the years, and we span so many years and so many decades, that it's only right, very appropriate, that they be involved in what is happening tomorrow as well as what is happening today.
And on this All-Star Saturday in Pittsburgh, not just the heroes of hockey game, we have today's stars, the young men who are putting up such fantastic numbers, coming out on the ice later on for the skills competition. I know you've had a look at some of the areas that they're going to be dealing with. There has to be a bit of concern with them right now, too.
Absolute great concern. I mean, a lot of them are known as, let's say, the fastest skater or the player with the hardest shot. And really, they don't have that much to gain other than reinforcing the reputation they already have when they take part in the competition. What they have to lose is perhaps 2 or 3 players having a harder shot than what people expected them to have and getting blown away in the competition. So, yeah, they're ready and they're really set to go head to head.
And so is this man, Eddie, the entertainer Shack. Lives in Toronto, lists his occupation as entrepreneur. Want to buy a Christmas tree at that season? He'll have one. If you're looking for a soft drink on the hottest day of the summer, he'll have a case for you. He is one of the busiest guys around, a great entertainer, after-dinner speaker and the like. Played, as you see, in 3 consecutive All-Star games as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was around the league in Buffalo and Los Angeles and Boston and New York and in Pittsburgh. But I guess really... Yeah. We remember him best as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Want to buy a Christmas tree in July?
He'll have one.
He'll have one for you.
Probably a truckload, knowing Shacky. 3-0 is the score. The Wales Conference leading the Campbell Conference. I'm Jakes McDonald with Bill Clement, Mike Emmerich, Gary Green, Danny Potvin, all members of our television coverage here today. We've goaltender change. Don Edwards in the nets now for the Campbell Conference, and Michel Dion for the Wales Conference. Michel played here in Pittsburgh. Donnie Edwards played most of his career in Buffalo, briefly with Calgary and Toronto. As you see, the Islanders, Denny Potvin handling the puck. Up the middle of the ice he comes with Gilbert. They get 4 men back. Potvin holds the puck, holds it, and then finds Harry Howell open. Howell, long pass. Wolf Nielsen trying to get it to Potvin. That's broken up and cleared down the ice by Peter Mahovlich. Redmond after it. And the first shot here turned aside by Edwards. Back they come over the center ice stripe. And on into the zone is Cashman. The pass just out of the reach of Nielsen. Now Gilbert, you've got 3 former Rangers out there. Gilbert, Cashman. No, I'm sorry, Wayne Cashman. I'm thinking of him as the assistant coach with the Rangers and putting him in there on a full-time basis now, Bill. He played his entire career with the Boston Bruins.
Well, what you've got is 2 number 20s on the same line. These guys are just about all wearing the same numbers that they wore when they were active, so you'll see some number duplications.
And the play broken up right in front of Edwards. Whitey Stapleton with it now. Out to Alex Del Vecchio. Dropped it back to Stapleton. Now to Magnuson. Magnuson gives it away to Apps, and he is beaten by Edwards. Magnuson to Stapleton. Long pass through center. Danny Gare chases it down. Picks it up behind Dion. Our microphone, by the way, is on Don Edwards, the goaltender to your left, for the team in red. The Wales Conference team leading by a score of 3-0. Len Sather just overled Andy Bathgate on the right side. If you weren't with us for the first period, Bathgate got a big goal on a penalty shot, and it's now 4-0. Ronnie Edwards is beaten on that one. Had an opportunity to get his reaction.
What a play by Andy Bathgate, though, Jigs. I mean, he has been cruising this entire game, and he put a little overdrive spurt on right here. Watch the back pass out to Sil Apps. And Apps really didn't get all of it, but it had eyes. It got through Edwards. Bill White was perhaps a little bit of a screen, number 2 in red. But Sil Apps put home a great pass from Andy Bathgate.
And they're right back in on the net again. Sather colliding with the goal, knocking it off. Len Sather listed his occupation. And our questionnaire is, who knows? He's the general manager and the president of the Edmonton Oilers. He lists Mark Messier as his favorite player amongst the current crop.
And when he was asked why, he said, make a guess.
Obviously, one of the best 2-way players in the game of all time, certainly of this era.
Messier, right?
Messier, yes.
The reason the play stopped is that Sather crashed into the net. That's how he got most of his career goals.
You know, you're right. 46 years of age. He played 2 years at Boston, a year and a half here in Pittsburgh, 2.5 years with the Rangers. He was in St. Louis, Montreal, and Minnesota. 6 NHL teams, 1 playoff goal. That was for the Canadiens in '75. And And there's a long pass from Del Vecchio, and Libet is robbed. Michel Dion coming up with the save. Interesting goalkeeper here. When he was playing for the Quebec Nordiques, the National Hockey League, Dickie Redmond, who is out on the ice today, was playing for the Boston Bruins. He beat Dion. Long shot from just outside the blue line. Michel quit right there on the spot. As the Bruins were celebrating the goal, Dion skated through them, went right to the dressing room. Coach Michel Bergeron came in and told him to look in the mirror because he'd see himself for the last time as a Quebec Nordique. He's now living in Rye, New York, trying to make his living as a golfer. And referee Red Story has called a penalty, I believe. He's screaming at Brad Park. Park had taken Sittler off his skates. Look at that look of innocence. Well now, Brad Park. Does this lead to the second penalty shot?
Brad Park. There will be a penalty shot resulting, and to take it, Lanny McDonald.
It sure will, and here is Lanny McDonald, folks. Not like Lanny.
I don't think he got a shot on net, did he? Did Dion get a piece of that? But Red had to even it up. He had given a penalty shot. He had awarded one earlier in the hockey game to the Wales Conference, and Andy Bathgate took that one and scored on it.
6.5 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, then to Colorado, and in 1981 he went to the Calgary Flames, got his 500th goal. Yes, Dion did get a piece of it. We look at our replay. Here's McDonald handling the puck. Bruce McNall may want to consider talking to Cliff Fletcher, putting McDonald in his lineup in Los Angeles. Just kidding, folks. Some of these heroes of the game have shown that the skills not left, or the skating ability as we watch this play develop. Sittler moving in, and he can't put it under the pads of Michel Dion. Well, the Campbell Conference starting to get some chances, but they haven't been able to put anything in the net. We'll be back in just a moment. Even the youngsters out at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh this afternoon, intense. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. What was he like when he played? Did you ever see him, Dad?
What a great chance for kids to come here and not only see the stars of the past, but the present stars and stars that will be stars of the future for a lot of years to come. Great weekend that's been put together here in Pittsburgh.
And the city has certainly responded. This is the first All-Star event to have been held in Pittsburgh. The team here in its 23rd season in the NHL as Edwards makes a save-off shot. And Lou Nanne, former general manager, former coach of the Minnesota North Stars, cleared it out. Brought right back in by Richard, and that is offside. There's the man who was penalized, Brad Park. Dickie Redmond in behind him. Silver-haired gentleman is Dan Canny, the former head trainer of the Boston Bruins, working the bench today. Parky getting a good laugh out of things. See, Brad just recently got a settlement in a situation in Detroit where he was former NHL coach, and where that man played for most of his career, Ted Lindsay, you saw briefly. A lot of the conversation yesterday in the dressing room, Bill, as they were arriving, went back a long time. Lindsay retired, I believe, after the '64 season, and the guys were reminiscing about events that led up to the formation of the Players Association.
Yeah, that must have been a very interesting time. The players of today have a lot of the pioneers, such as Ted Lindsay, to thank for what they have today, a lot of what they have today.
And Lindsay paid a price for that. Dealt away to Chicago, punished, almost banished to the Blackhawks at that time. Came back to complete his career at Detroit. He's a businessman in the Detroit area at 64 years of age. Sales rep. Danny Potvin handling the puck with a pass to Wayne Cashman. Now to Harry Howell. Howell, by the way, works for the Edmonton Oilers. He's given the puck to Richard, back to Howell. And the former outstanding defenseman had a shot blocked by Stapleton. Makita with a good pass to Mahavlich. Or to Redmond, excuse me. Mickey Redmond, number 20, plays it around the board.
I knew those two number 20s would get you sooner or later.
Now Makita centers one. Stapleton was there but couldn't get a shot away. Shack feeds it to the corner. Redmond puts it back in the net. That's Makita to White. And his shot to a screen is blocked by Harry Howell. Howell was the man who won the Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman the year before Bobby Orr arrived on the scene and laid claim to it as his own.
Well, he actually said, I'm glad I won it now because nobody else will be winning it for a lot of years now.
Collision there between a couple of teammates allows Mickey Redmond to come to center ice. And over the line with a pass to Shack on the left side, back to Redmond, but his younger brother, Dickey, took him out of the play. And Cashman checked by Peter Mahavlich, and he's played the puck out towards center ice. Stapleton has it there. 49-year-old Pat Stapleton, who broke in with Boston in 61-62, and then went to Chicago in 65. Handles the puck back of the net. Tandem together today as White and Stapleton. When Bill White broke into the National Hockey League, he was teamed up with Dale Rolfe, every bit as tall as White. And the two of them pretty much closed off the entire width of the ice surface when they were together. White to Redmond. Mickey Redmond, also a television commentator with the Detroit Red Wings. And the puck held in by Sather. The Bathgate. His pass to Watson covering the point is broken up and cleared down the ice by Mickey Redmond. This is Dickie Redmond to Sil Apps. Wrap-around pass out of the reach of Bathgate. Controlled now by Lee Fogelin. Fogelin, who played in Buffalo and also with the Edmonton Oilers when they were winning Stanley Cups. Playing it down into the other end of the ice, and here goes Del Vecchio. Put it back in the net for Nick Libet. They feed it out. Fogelin puts it in front, and Gare's shot is blocked by Jim Schoenfeld. Bathgate feeding the puck to Apps. Now to Glenn Sather. Slats. Drops it back to Apps. They're handling the puck very well now.
I'm wondering who one of the youngest players is. We've talked about some of the older guys.
Danny Gare, I believe, at 35. Big save there by Donnie Edwards, who is 34 years of age. And there's Potvin over at the bench. Retired 2 seasons ago now from the New York Islanders after having won 4 Stanley Cups 3 times. He was the Norris Trophy winner as the NHL's best defenseman. Denny, 36 years of age, was the #1 choice of the New York Islanders in 1973. 15 years, 4 cups, as I mentioned, and was Rookie of the Year following his first season.
And more points than anybody. Paul Coffey may have a chance to catch him if he plays long enough. Larry Robinson is still active, but Dennis Potvin, the only defenseman ever to score over 1,000 points in a career.
Denny will be moving into your seat in our broadcast booth. Look at that save, and then the rebound banged in by Gare. First save made by Dion, but Danny Gare gets to the rebound, and the boys in red, the Campbell Conference team, are on the board here.
Finally, the lookout defense has appeared. Brad Park wanted to stand up on that 2-on-1 situation and turned the wrong way, and there was just too much red in front. Danny Gare found himself with a wide open net.
Danny Gare played 13 seasons in the National Hockey League. 82-83, was traded to Detroit, then finished up his career in Edmonton, and in 827 games scored 685 points.
Number 14, Nick Libet, and number 10, Alex Delecchio at 11-14.
We have a man out here today, and I believe you saw a graphic earlier, telling us the story of Ted Lindsay, who played in the National Hockey League's very first All-Star game. There had been 3 benefit games prior to the introduction of an annual All-Star game. Look at that save by Don Edwards. Taking off to the left to take away the chance for Peter McNabb, and now an offside pass as Frank Mahavlich went for it. Well, the Wales Conference continues to lead the Campbell Conference by a score of 4-1. We'll return to Pittsburgh in a moment. Welcome back to All-Star Saturday from Pittsburgh. Darryl Sittler breaking in, and Lanny McDonald going to the net, and Denny Potvin broke up the pass and then covered the puck along with Dion.
Boy, if that isn't a flashback of a situation that I'm sure happened countless number of times. The tandem of Lanny McDonald and Darryl Sittler when they were both with the Toronto Maple Leafs coming down on a 2-on-1 with Denny Potvin back.
Yes, so often. And on the other side in this forward line is Frank Mahavlich. The puck blocked by Dion. Shot by McDonald, and here's Magnuson covering the right point, and it goes to Sittler. Centers it out in front. McDonald can't knock it down. Magnuson did, and Harry Howell was there to knock it away. Potvin feeds it around the boards. Peter McNabb failed to move it out, and a long shot deflected off the goalpost. Here's Potvin playing the puck away from Sittler. Denny, who has just started to work out again recently as far as hockey conditioning is concerned. The New York Islanders get an alumni team together. This is only the 3rd or 4th time that he's had the skates on since retirement. Big Frank Mahovlich gave us a throwback, a little flashback to those long strides of his as he tried to come through center ice.
Come on, come on.
Now Sittler lost the puck at the line, and here's Cornwallis off to the races. Shot moves in. Cornwallis' shot is grabbed by Edwards. Plays it around the boards. Sittler clears it into center ice. Mahovlich trying to break over center, but Pappen couldn't get the puck to him. Henri Richard moves it up ahead. Moving in on Bobby Plager. Waits for Schutt, gives him the puck, and he scores! Richard to Schutt, upstairs over the left shoulder of Don Edwards, and the Wales Conference leads 5-1.
Well, you know, Don Edwards has stacked the pads 2 or 3 times in this period and really done it well, but he couldn't do anything about this one. Henri Richard gloved the puck down in the neutral zone, and then watch this little flip pass. Beauty right onto the stick of Steve Schutt. Steve Schutt, I'm sure, scored 30 or 40 just like that in his career, and scored countless number of other goals every way imaginable. One of the most prolific scoring left wingers in the history of the game.
A look along the bench. It was Glenn Sather that you had a look at a moment ago. Yeah, Steve Schutt, he too in the broadcast field now, working on the Montreal Canadiens radio coverage of their games. Mickey Redmond taking the puck deeper in his own zone. Moved it up the right side out of the reach of Cornwallis. Edwards will leave it for Stapleton. Just under 5 minutes to play in the first Heroes of Hockey game. As part of All-Star Saturday, glad you're able to join us on Sports Channel America. And very instrumental in bringing the players together for this event. Brian Watson, who just went into the corner to knock the puck loose. Cornwallis gives it to Richard. Now to Redmond. Dickie Redmond with a shot. Kick save by Edwards. Stapleton gets tangled up with Cornwallis, and Edwards out to clear the puck. Get it to the line where it's held in by Richard. The pocket rocket sneaking in along the boards. White knocks it away from him. In comes Gilbert. He frees up the puck. Tried a wraparound pass that didn't work. Brad Park holds it at the right point. Starts in with it. Park with a shot. Blocked, and then Schutt picks up a loose puck and scores to make it 6-1. The Montreal boys are getting the job done again for Scotty Bowman, aren't they?
Well, you know, in that questionnaire that we handed all of the players, they were asked what team they liked playing against the most. Well, Steve Schutt played for the team that most guys enjoyed playing against the most, the Montreal Canadiens. It was always and still is one of the greatest places to go and play, and so much tradition there. Oh, Eddie Shack's winding up. Notice there's no right winger. Where is he? Oh, just flashed through the bottom of our screen there.
The entertainer out on the ice now with Mickey Redmond and Lou Nanny. Nanny got back to play defense now after having snuck up to the right wing side for a moment. There's Jim Schoenfeld. Nanny stepped into him. Peter Mahovlich is the other forward on this line. Peter Mahovlich getting control of the puck here.
Assist to number 7,
Into center. Mickey Redmond fires one that's deflected. Redmond puts it out in front again, and Peter Mahovlich puts it in with his hand. Picked the puck out of the air, threw it into the net. Johnny on the spot, former referee-in-chief of the National Hockey League, Scotty Morrison, to wave it off. No goal. Peter said, I thought that would count. I was sure it would.
Especially given the score.
Because Mr. Shack was in the crease. That's why.
One number 20 to another number 20. But look at Shack right in front of Michel Dionne. There's the stuffer by Peter Mahovlich.
Look where Shack is. Yeah.
Don't worry about being in the crease, Shacky. Yay, he's even got the nerve to cheer after that.
He is something. Had a dune buggy when he was playing with the Los Angeles Kings, painted in what we called forum blue and gold at that time, and here he is with the puck. Lost it at the blue line. Sweet Daddy. Now Cashman comes down the left side, catches up with a loose puck, but a sliding Fogelun can't make the check. Park puts it in front. And Edwards can't hold it. The puck gets by him to make it a 7-1 score, favor of the Wales Conference. Opie Nielsen finishing it off here. Nielsen is another of the former National Hockey League players that plays regularly. Now represents several Swedish businesses, their business interests in the U.S. Lives just outside Manhattan. See him handle the puck here. Just enough on it to get it over Edwards and into the corner of the net. Boy, what an addition he was to the New York Rangers after coming over from Winnipeg of the World Hockey Association. Nielsen, now 39 years of age, played 4 seasons in the WHA at Winnipeg. Went to the Rangers in 1978, played 170 games, scored 169 points. Danny Gare with a shot. Young got a chunk of that. Now Silaps gives the puck to Harry Howell. He missed his boss, Glenn Sather, with the pass, and Sather went for a waltz in the center ice area. This is Keith Magnuson giving it to Nick Libet, to Alex Del Vecchio. Del Vecchio, one of the great and graceful skaters in this game. Checked in the corner. Alex, number 10, played from 1950 to 1973 and then coached. Was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1977. Back behind his own goal, but the puck comes out in front, and Harry Howell's shot is blocked. The rebound is there, and Sather can't lift it over Edwards. Edwards talking to Sather, and down in the dressing rooms, you had a look at Patrick Waugh. There's Brian Leach, the corner of your picture. These are the current National Hockey League stars getting ready for the competition that will follow today. The skills competition is just around the corner. We'll see who's the fastest skater. There's Chris Chelios getting into gear, and the fans stand to applaud these 42 heroes of the game. Don Edwards being congratulated by his teammates. The Wales Conference beat the Campbell Conference 7-1, but a good crowd on hand, and they've been treated royally this afternoon by these heroes of the game. There's Harry Howell. His team ends up on the winning side. Brad Park and Silaps. And as is tradition in hockey, after Stanley Cup games, when the series have been completed, the handshaking and the two coaches, Scotty Bowman and Red Kelly. Let's listen in.
They're going to want to interview after this.
Being informed of some interviews that'll be coming up. I don't think there's any doubt but what every player had a good time. The weekend will continue for them. They'll have a reception this evening. They'll be on hand for tomorrow's All-Star game. There's Whitey Stapleton. His son is in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. We talked about Reggie Leach earlier. His son is in the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. So the names will live on, no doubt, as these young men look to their fathers for guidance, and their fathers gave us quite a performance here today. The Wales Conference defeating the Campbell Conference by a score of 7-1. We'll be right back.
Now a nice moment on ice, brought to you by Nice Sore Throat Lozenges. Many consider Wayne Gretzky to be the athlete of the 80s. A mixture of speed, skill, and grace, Wayne's assault on the record book has been unrelenting. In 1989, in just his 11th NHL season, the great one became the greatest as he passed Gordie Howe's point total to become the NHL's all-time leading scorer. For Wayne Gretzky, it was truly a nice moment on ice.
The Prince of Wales Conference defeating the Campbell Conference by a score of 7-1 in the first ever Heroes of Hockey action here at Pittsburgh this afternoon. I know the players enjoyed it, as I said, and I know the fans did with that standing ovation as well.